Hey, what's up, gamers? So I recently got into Halo Infinite, and by recently I mean about 2 months ago, with the last month being almost entirely tactical. I used to play SWAT all the time back in Halo 3 and Reach. I quit after Reach, so it's been about 10 years, but Infinite's just insanely fun. I think it's safe to say I'm back. With that being said, I only got to play ranked SWAT for a couple weeks before ranked snipers replaced it, so I don't exactly know what my true skill level is at the moment, but by the metrics I was able to land myself in the top 15% of SWAT players. So I figure that qualifies me to share some of the tips on the basics that might help new players or even your average player that's looking to get better. I still feel like I'm easing back into Halo, but during this time I feel like I've also adapted pretty quick, and this was mainly by focusing on the fundamentals as well as reflecting on my own gameplay. So instead of, looking up the meta strategies and seeing what to do, I've been looking at my own gameplay and seeing what not to do. So if you're new to Halo, new to Tactical, or you're just looking to get a little better at the playlist, I hope you can get some usefulness out of this video. And then, if you're a Halo Infinite SWAT veteran, I'd also like to hear your feedback. One of the things I've noticed since coming back to Halo after a 10-year break is that the community just really isn't there like it used to be. I tried looking up some Tactical Slayers videos just to see if anything's changed, and it's empty. Back in the day, there used to be so many SWAT YouTubers, and really there was an entire community just built around this one playlist. So consider this my attempt at screaming into the void and trying to give this community some life again. So this will also be my first YouTube video in about 10 years, so take it easy on me. But yeah, let's dive in. Alright, my first tip is going to be go easy on sprinting. The name of the playlist changed from SWAT to Tactical, but really it still communicates the same message. Be strategic. It sounds corny, but I like to picture myself as an actual SWAT team member, carefully navigating the map, carefully clearing my angles. It gets real easy to go into autopilot, especially while you're in a quiet area, but in SWAT, players are constantly rotating around the map. So just because your spot's empty and quiet now, doesn't mean it'll be in 5 seconds. So you should always expect someone around the corner or to pop in your hallway, and expecting it's one thing, but more importantly, you want to be ready for it. You want to anticipate that person. Now, this doesn't mean to give up sprinting completely, but you want to just focus on being smart with it. Now let's take a look at this clip from the other day. You see that? Let's go frame by frame. The very moment I click my sprint button, someone pops around the corner. So had I not gone into autopilot and started sprinting, this could have been a triple. When I was in the Fire Academy many years ago, I learned a saying that stuck with me. It was slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And it's true. With Tactical, it's really about finding that sweet spot in your gameplay where control and precision meet pacing. Alright, tip number 2, much shorter tip. Pay attention to your teammates' location. Okay, you don't have to see their bodies, you don't have to see them actively, just the positioning of their names. You can quite literally look at a wall and look at your teammates' names and make an educated guess about where the other team will be. See right there, dead body. If the kill feed starts moving for any reason, make a note, and this will prepare you for 2 things. One, if your teammate is winning in the kill feed, you can prepare for respawns and position yourself to take map control. And then on the other side, if your teammates are losing in the kill feed, you can see where their dead bodies are at and prepare for an incoming push and then defend what map control you do have while your teammates respawn. SWAT can snowball really quickly, where you can have a super close game and then one team just starts to pop off and the game's over before you know it. Alright, my third tip is going to be to play your life. Focusing on getting kills is super important, but something equally important and I feel overlooked is the focus on not dying. I'll see teammates in some games die 3 or 4 times in a row. They spawn, they push out, try to get a kill, they die over and over. A big thing you'll see in SWAT or Tactical is a game where everyone seems to be on autopilot, nothing crazy, but then suddenly around the 40 kill mark, the map just kind of becomes a ghost town, super quiet. And it's for good reason, it works. But players often wait until the very end of the game to start playing like this. So what'll set you apart is being conscious of it from the beginning. And with that, you want to make the other team work for every single kill. So part of playing your life means knowing when and when not to take fights. So right here you see we have a 44-43 game. I start shooting at this guy, I'm missing every single shot, and I realize, you know what, this isn't my fight to take. I leave, I pick up an assist, and as I reposition, I get a kill. So just like that, we went from 44 to 43 to 48, 44, just like that. Making smart decisions and playing for your life is what'll set you apart in this game mode. Alright, tip number 5, crosshair placement, also known as pre-aiming. So the best way to aim is by having to aim as little as possible. Of course, it's always important to have good aim, but if your crosshair is already placed in the correct position as you move around the map, a lot of the work is already done for you. While watching some theater, I noticed many players run around looking closer to the ground than they do to the head level. When you encounter an opponent this way, you got to take that extra split second to first correct your aim to head height, and then also get it on the player's head and shoot. You don't have to be perfect, but by simply keeping your crosshair at head level, you're already one step ahead. Alright, now let's go ahead and take a look at some less than optimal crosshair placement. Okay, so here we can see our teammate is aiming at absolutely nothing. If he gets peeked from anywhere, he's likely dead. He won't have time to react, especially if the person on the other team has good crosshair placement. Still aiming at nothing, and make note of all the places you can get peeked from here. Again, when he's rounding the corner, his crosshair placement's off. See, he's aiming at the tree, he's aiming at the corner. There is a doorway right there that you should keep your crosshair on in this situation. And he gets peeked. Has no time to react. Before you even know it hit him, he's dead. And I think what a lot of players are doing, especially in this situation, is looking around with their eyes, but not necessarily with their crosshair. So let's see what we could have done better here. So instead of aiming at this tree in the corner, like we saw before, I would be keeping my crosshair here, ready for the peek. And really focus on stabilizing your crosshair if possible. You know, no matter where you move, you want that crosshair to stay perfectly placed. Alright, tip number 6, stop standing out in the open. So if I'm playing Tactical Slayer on this map and I'm standing here, it might look great. You know, I can see here, I can see here. I have so many angles I can kill people. But then the downside of that is they all only have to look here. So what do you want to do in this situation? You want to isolate your angles. So backing off in this corner, I now have this covering me and I can look here. Now if I want to look somewhere else, I can look there, minimize the amount of angles I'm exposed to. I want to look over, I'm now invisible here, and I think you see what I'm getting at here. Now the possibility exists that you get flanked, but to be honest, that possibility of getting flanked is the same here as it is here. So you definitely want to play smarter. Now, is it possible to hold this angle right here and win? Absolutely. But no matter how skilled you are, you always want as much of an advantage as possible in fights. Alright, and this will flow into our next tip of have an escape route. To bridge tips 6 and 7, play with some sort of cover, play with some sort of obstruction. Again, this is tactical. Most of the time you die before you even know what hit you, so you want to minimize the amount of angles that you can die from. So lock down your territory, hold your angle, and play defensively. So run, reset, simply go somewhere else. You don't have to take fights, especially where you're in the disadvantage. I've ran and made the split-second decision to disengage so many times, and a lot of the times the other player's still waiting, and meanwhile I'm already somewhere else. And then whenever you have those long-range spam fights, I'm usually just taking 1 or 2 shots and leaving. I'm not committing to long-range fights. And why is that? Because I don't have the advantage. Sure, it might be a 50-50 spam, but I don't want to take those odds. I want better odds than 50-50. So to sum up, play behind cover, have an escape route. If you're at the disadvantage in the fight, leave. Alright, next tip, isolate your 1v1s. If you've noticed by now, some of these tips sound very similar, but they're distinct and they all have a unique synergy to them. They complement each other and they all tie into improving as a player in Tactical. Is taking a 1v2 winnable? Absolutely. But generally the odds are against you. Part of being a good player, or even an improving player, is recognizing your odds of winning fights and then knowing how to optimize those odds. Luckily for this one, it's not too complicated. 1v1 is easier to win than 1v2. So remember the other tips? Stop standing out in the open. Play behind cover. Have an escape route. Now isolate your 1v1s. By winning 2 1v1s in a row, you've successfully won a 1v2. Alright, my very last tip is going to be to keep playing. When I first started playing Infinite a couple months ago, I imagined Halo in the state it was in during Reach. So I tried looking up some Tactical Slayer videos to kind of see what it was like in the modern day, but there really wasn't much. All these tips I've given are from analyzing my own gameplay, my own mistakes as I've been getting better. So just keep playing, and don't just play mindlessly. Try to take at least one thing from every game. In my case, I kept dying because I was sprinting too much, I was committing to bad fights, I was trying to take 1v3s, fighting out in the open too much. Does that sound familiar? When you keep dying or having a bad game, just ask yourself why. There might be something super obvious that can be fixed. As you keep playing and getting more time in, you'll get more familiar with the movement, the maps, you'll be exposed to so many more situations, you'll gain experience, and you'll become a little bit better every single time. As I make this video, it's currently February 2nd, 2024, and I have been improving a ton every single day. I'm hoping to keep learning until SWAT comes back ranked, in which I'm going to try and push for Onyx, so we'll see. But yeah, that's all I've got for now. I'm having an insane amount of fun in Halo Infinite. The game feels amazing, it feels polished, and all I can say is expect more of me with this type going forward. I haven't made a video in over 10 years, so I appreciate any and all feedback I get. I'm not really in this to try and become famous or become a streamer or anything. Really, I just want to make some informative content and kind of just bring some life back to the SWAT community. There's tons more tips I wrote down, but I'm still learning the game myself, so I wanted to keep it to the simplest, easiest things that you can either fix or implement into your gameplay. Initially, when I started playing, I was trying to learn Arena and just do the ranked Arena grind, but it slowly hit me that SWAT is still where my heart is at, so honestly, I just love the game mode at its core. Even in the games where I'm playing against top players, it still feels extremely chill. So with that, if you have any ideas, any feedback, any suggestions, please feel free to reach out, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And then if you want to play SWAT, just add me. I'll leave my gamertag in the description or the top comment, but yeah, that's it. Peace. Thanks for watching.